Come on.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the only podcast produced by three two-time winners of IMSA's Spirit of the Race Award. You're tuned into the Check Engine Podcast. We're hosted on Anchor.fm. We're streamed worldwide on all those platforms that you may use to listen to your podcasts. Nick, Tristan, Andrew are all here, as we are every week or week and a half or whenever we decide to get together to do this little show. Gentlemen, what's good? What's happening?
Not much. Anyone get engaged, get married? Anybody have a child? What's going on here? What big life events happened in the past week? Anybody?
No, those are all still pending.
Okay, fair enough. All right.
Yeah.
We're good then.
all still pending. The big event that happened here in Wisconsin, though, we're recording on the heels of the Bucks winning their first championship in
That's right.
50 years. Bucks in 6. Suck it, Phoenix.
Giannis, what? 50 14
points.
and something?
Yeah.
I think the best part
14
about
and 8?
that is he essentially, well, I'm sure they knew, but he made it seem on his Instagram live today that he stole the trophy from the team, and he and his wife went to Chick-fil-A through the drive-thru, and he ordered exactly 50 nuggets
Love it. Love it.
to commemorate
That's
his 50 points in the closeout game.
It's a Chick-fil-A right across from work.
Really? Was it the Brookfield one?
Yep.
Son of a bitch.
awesome. Oh, that's funny.
Giannis was within, like, you could throw a rock at him from our office today.
Yep.
That's awesome.
No one throw rocks at Giannis. We need him. He's valuable.
Yeah, he's very good.
Protect that man.
He's a good basketball man.
So, yeah, that was huge. I was not in Wisconsin to enjoy it with the rest of the state. I was actually watching from a hotel room in Florida, but it's still got the...
Just jet setting all over the country lately.
It's the final, so you can watch it everywhere.
You can watch it
actually, which is
everywhere. It's
good.
on national television. So, man, I can't believe they actually did that. Holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could be more excited about it. Honestly, I am not a fan of the Bucks. I mean, I don't really watch basketball that religiously because I can't do 82 games. But I specifically don't watch the Bucks because I hate their logo.
Okay.
It sounds dumb, right? But as someone who I don't play basketball. I kind of like watching basketball, but I don't have an investment in anything. I'd rather play 2K than watch like an actual basketball game.
Sure.
So that kind of shit like makes a big difference, especially when the Bucks had the original, like the basketball sweater deer was the best logo in all of professional sports for its entire existence.
Yes.
And to get rid of that, well, I mean, that had like the stupid 90s Bucks thing, which was, I don't know, like too edgy essentially. But then to go to whatever this is now, whatever vinyl applique, it's horrible. It's terrible.
That may be the case, but they're still champions. So
Well, of course, it doesn't matter when you're world champs.
that doesn't matter when you're champs and you're raising
Not
that
at all.
banner. First one in any of our lifetimes. Obviously, is the first one in 50 years. So hopefully they come a little more frequently from here on out. But man, that was cool.
And I also feel like it's really good that Giannis got one, like early. You know what? Pretty early, anyways.
Early, relatively speaking, 26 years old.
Early in his life, but I was like doing the math on like how long he had been with the Bucks and like how young he was when he started.
Yeah.
Because you see the footage of him, like his first season, you're like, that is a different human being.
Uh-huh. He is fully grown man now.
Yes, now he is
looks
fully an adult.
When I was
made
driving
of
back from the airport
rock.
today, the local ESPN radio, I had it on, and they actually were talking about that. They're like, if you look at the comparison, like his rookie photo to this year's photo, it's like in like 2K when you're creating a player and you use the muscle slider and you go from 0 to 100.
Uh-huh.
It's like
Exactly
a
that.
completely different person.
It looks like it was shot in different scale. like too. Like he's actually taller. I feel.
No,
like.
he grew since we drafted him.
Yeah,
That's insane.
yeah.
Like when we drafted him, he was, I think
18.
six. Yeah, he was 18 years old, but I think he was 6'9". He's 6'11" now.
Yeah, well, because you don't stop growing until you're in your 20s. So
Yeah,
It's just nuts.
yeah.
Man, the like 2 years ago, and again, don't watch a lot of basketball, but I noticed that his post fake out is nasty. Like
Yep.
standing, he's putting people in the basement of the stadium. It's the I've never seen anything like it. They just people freak out.
He has got one of the most unique skill sets I think anybody's ever seen. Free
It's
throws
like
is not one of them until last night.
right, exactly.
Sometimes you get in the zone, but it's like the Roethlisberger pump fake. Like
Yeah.
it just destroys people.
Yeah.
You
So,
can actually feel it through the TV.
Yeah, it's crazy.
but you're right, Tristan. I'm happy he got one. I'm happy he got one here. I was really worried that he was going to be gone. But the fact that he stayed here, he signed his super max. He's like, I'm not going to just go pull a Durant and just chase him all over the place.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it with the team that drafted me. And then he delivered. So even if this is the only one he gets, he delivered on that promise. So
Also, in the face of super teams, like, I mean, you can say, "Oh, the Bucks didn't eliminate, either the Lakers or
Nets in full strength.
yeah, or the Nets at full strength." But so,
Hey, you got to play who's in front of you. It's
exactly what.
And
what
Giannis
can you
got hurt a
really
little
say
bit there
about it?
too. We haven't had our starting shooting guard for basically the last 2/3 of the season. Like, I almost forgot that Dante DiVincenzo was even on the team. It's been so long since he's played. And he started the year as our starting shooting guard. So it's like everyone gets hurt. Everyone's playing with something. I mean, Bucks can't help it. They just got to play who's in front of them, and they did. All
Yeah.
the way to the end. So anyway, we are not a basketball podcast.
Hey,
We
my
are
new favorite tradition.
We are a car podcast. Andrew, what is the main topic for tonight's episode?
Well, listen, I had a lot of fun doing. I don't know what it is. Car matchmaker. Car. We still don't have a perfect term for it.
Okay, there, Tristan. Sorry, Andrew.
He almost died.
Yeah, never mind any noises you may have heard, because I almost sent my microphone cascading to the concrete floor. Yowza.
Well,
Sorry. Sorry, everyone.
that's right. Our thin veneer professionalism is long since shattered.
That's right. I was listening to a podcast with, where one of the guests was, Minnie Driver, famous Hollywood actor. And
Mhm.
it's like, she's like, oh, sorry, my dog's barking in the background. Podcasts can only get so professional. It's fine.
Every ESPN podcast has at least one barking dog.
Yeah, for sure.
If you haven't noticed,
I think it's obvious. This is obviously an audio medium, but I think Tristan, your face on the Zencaster there,
Yeah,
was
made the whole
fabulous.
thing. Just sheer terror.
That's right.
Well, I'm done recording today and forever because I can't afford a microphone.
Anyway, before we so rudely interrupted you, Andrew. Try that again.
I was right. Yeah, just talking about. Well, I got a lot of enjoyment out of. Again, I don't know what to call it. I guess Car Matchmaker is good because it's essentially hypothetical, right? We're just taking people that we know and matching them with a car that would be good for their life. So that's what we're going to do more of tonight. Pick people we know, match them with the cars that they should have, almost essentially whether or not they're actually looking for a car. Although most people kind of are looking for a car right now, which is weird.
Yeah, Claire is now seriously looking for a car.
Well, I can't wait to hear what your pick is.
So the one I picked for her is not what we're gonna get, because one of the other stipulations or one of the things we discussed here was that money was no option.
Right, of course.
So
Because where's the fun in that? Everyone's just going to pick fucking Toyota Camry.
yeah, exactly. So
Everybody gets a Camry. It fits everyone, okay?
It does.
it should.
But before that, let's talk about F1. Did everybody see it? Did everybody see Silverstone?
Yes.
I saw what you want to talk about. So I actually, before I hopped on here, I was watching the recording and I shut it off with 3 laps to go. So
Because
but
nothing happened in
nothing happened, I think, in the final 51 laps. But
Right, no. Was it... All right, clearly it was a penalty. but should it have been a penalty? And what is with all the people like Axis of Oversteer freaking the fuck out and saying Hamilton needs to be suspended? All right, so for anyone who doesn't know, first lap of Silverstone, Hamilton. What's the best way to talk about it that doesn't presuppose? Hamilton put Verstappen into the wall. Super hard hit in turn
6, I think.
6 or 7.
And cops is what they call that corner.
So I mean, he didn't like ram him. He essentially, what I saw was Hamilton squaring the corner wide to force Verstappen to get off the racing line, because they were inches from each other, trading back and forth through every corner of the racetrack from the go.
Yeah, and just to put it in context, that's a very high-speed corner. If those of you listening who aren't familiar, that corner, F1 cars can take pretty much top gear, 160 plus miles an hour without lifting. Mm-hmm. If you're by yourself running your own line, and normally people don't try to pass there because of that, because it's like a razor thin margin for error because of the speed there. But I don't know, Andrew, like I'm during the red flag, they literally were on Hamilton's onboard.
Yep.
And they broke it down like frame by frame, by still. And by all accounts, it looks like Verstappen cut across his nose. Like, people were saying, oh, Hamilton wasn't there. Like, he was up alongside on the onboard where you couldn't see Verstappen out his left side. Like,
of course not.
And he didn't look to me like he washed out that much. I think his angle was poor going in because he came in, on the inside instead of taking the high arc. So he's going to slide a little bit, but like, it wasn't like he held the wheel straight and went out. It looked like Verstappen just cut across his nose. Like,
so essentially, what I saw was they were alongside each other. I don't
think there needed to be a penalty at all. I thought it was just kind of a racing incident, but
I figured they were going to give him a penalty because essentially the crash happened was what Hamilton's front left wheel essentially went into the meat of Verstappen's car and punted him like all the way off the track.
51G impact. So thank goodness.
Which, by the way, that's
Max is okay. By the way,
well, that's my biggest takeaway. That there was a massive, 20 yards of gravel between Verstappen and the 4-ply tire wall, and it did not fucking touch that car. That is a really bad gravel trap.
I think he flew over it. I think when he hit the curb, it launched the car up a little bit.
It could have, but he was at least sliding across it for a while. Like that someone needs to take a look at that. No.
But hey, I knew he was going to get a penalty for it. I didn't think there really needed to be. I thought, if anything, Formula One maybe has like different set of, gentlemen's agreements or unwritten rules, but for everyone yelling that was Verstappen's corner, I really didn't think so. Hamilton was fully alongside of him, and Verstappen took the normal line anyway. So
yeah, that's where I think, knowing all of those things, that's why my mind puts it at a penalty. And I don't know. I would say I don't know enough to really cry suspension, like you said, Axis of Oversteer was saying, but
there's no way he needs to be suspended for anything. That's bullshit.
But here's the thing: is like, when you talk about the skill of these drivers and the knowledge of these drivers, like, Verstappen was on the racing line, and Hamilton put himself in a terrible position, what can only be assumed on purpose, to force him off of it. And I know that in like all the stuff that we watch, I would have to go over the F1 rulebook, but like, if you are on the racing line is yours. And if you're pushing people off of it, or you get in their way as they attempt to use it, that's your problem.
But he didn't push him off of it. Max gave him the inside.
Gave him the inside and then proceeded to cut back across. And
there is a racing line, quote unquote. Yes, right. Fine, yes. Great. But not hitting the apex of a corner, especially, I don't know Silverstone that well, But there is a second approach to taking a corner, right? There's the apex approach, but just 2 corners before that, Hamilton made up, 10 to 15 yards of track on Verstappen by squaring a corner that he apexed. Like, there are 2 ways to approach a corner. Is that another approach there? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. The way I see it is that, in between, when they're doing the frame by frame, in between the one frame, when Verstappen's front corner almost completely disappears off of Hamilton's onboard camera, and in the next one, when it's just barely visible, my assumption is that Hamilton probably thought he was in the lead there, and so just took whatever line he wanted to take at that time. Or he took a line that, maybe rightly, maybe wrongly, would have pushed the guy he knew was on the outside of him, that he now thought he was leading, to the outside of the track. And if you can't do that in racing, then what is the point? Just do single car round the track type shit. Like, then there's no racing at all.
I really think it comes down to both guys thought they had the corner, and there was nothing malicious about it. I think the only thing I would say is Lewis, 7-time world champ, best driver the sport has seen. He probably knows that, the old adage, you can't win it on the first lap, but you sure as hell can lose it. Like, did he need to poke his nose in right there on a lap 1 of 52?
Probably not.
Probably not. But also, when are you going to get better opportunity than right at the start when everyone's bunched up? Because you see how Formula One races string out. He had a massive run. I think it's just a racing deal. Like, to use a NASCAR term in a Formula One setting, it was just one of them racing deals.
How about just use an old F1 adage? If you are a race car driver and you don't go for a gap that's there, you're no longer a race car driver. Like Senna said when he definitely intentionally 100% took out Alain Prost in turn 1.
Japan, yes.
In Japan.
This was a totally different situation because Senna did drive straight. He did not try to clear.
He didn't even attempt to take the corner.
Nope.
This was not that. But I think you can say there was a gap.
The quote applies.
Yeah, absolutely.
The quote applies.
Even though the situation is totally different. Clearly it was a penalty. They assessed a penalty. In the scope of things, I probably think 10 seconds is pretty fair.
It wasn't malicious. Like, it was.
I don't think so.
No, and I don't think that, but I think you can also penalize people for doing stupid shit. Like,
yes.
Like that's like, it doesn't have to just be malicious. It can just be stupid. So it's like, hey, don't do that again. And that's more what I'm coming from is like, I don't think he was out there to get anybody, but it's like, you can take 2 different routes through the corners, but it's the old, to pull an adage from quantum mechanics, not a race. Two objects cannot exist in the same place in the same state at the same time. Mm-hmm. You've got 2 race cars there. This guy's on another line than you. They're going to end up being in the same place at the same time. Maybe don't do that because that's stupid, especially in a corner that's that fast. And that's where I'm coming from. It's not that it was anything that he was like out to get anybody, but just he did a stupid thing and needed to be penalized for it. That's all.
Yeah, I think the only wrong is, hey, lap 1 of 50, whatever. Maybe just sit that corner out and give it a shot, the next time by, or in another corner somewhere else.
Well, yeah, and it's almost
with a deeper braking zone or something. Mm-hmm. Like,
I wonder if that would have even weighed on the consideration. Like, if that had happened in the last 2 laps, when it's like, okay, now is the time to push. Like, it would be less stupid if it weren't that early in the race or what have you. If the marshals would consider things like that, I'd be curious.
Yeah, but I guess, yeah. Knowing F1 was going to hand out a penalty for it, 10 seconds seems fair to me. I just thought it was a racing incident. Both guys, I think, thought they had the corner, and they both took the line that they would take in that situation, and Verstappen got the worst end of it. But there was nothing malicious. I think all the all the hate that Lewis was getting afterwards, especially all the racist stuff, was absolutely disgusting. And
They always do that.
Like,
I just don't even know why.
yeah, that has literally nothing to do with anything. If you want to shout at his driving ability or the fact that maybe it was a dumb move or overly aggressive, fine. But like, never mind. I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
It was the same when England lost that, forget what tournament they're in these days.
World Cup.
The Euro. It was the
Euro. No,
it was
Euro.
Euro. Yeah, Euro
Like,
Cup.
a bunch of racist hate aimed at anyone on the English team that wasn't white. It's like, come on. It's not about that.
Yeah, what does that have to do with shit?
Yeah. So,
but I do want to talk a little bit about Axis of Oversteer, just because I was on Twitter, or I tweeted. I think I tweeted "LOL, calm down" at him when he said that Hamilton needed to be suspended a race for that.
yeah.
And he hit me back with what if it had happened to Hamilton? And I was like, then it's the same.
Then it's the same.
Like
Verstappen gets a 10-second penalty.
I don't stan Hamilton. Like, I think that if that exact situation played out in every F1 race at some point on some corner, I think you have to assess the same penalty regardless of the driver and regardless of the incident or the location on the track. Because if you can't do that, if you can't put yourself in a corner, whether, wisely or not, if you can't put yourself in a position to make a move when you're given a line, then what are we doing? What are we as a collective organization built to advance the most technologically advanced car racing on the planet doing?
No, I agree. This has nothing to do with the fact that Hamilton should get a pass because of his past accolades or anything like that. If this was George Russell on Lance Stroll, 10-second penalty for Russell then. Like, it's just the situation. Like, there's no way you can prove any sort of, if there was malicious intent and you could prove it somehow, like the onboard showed him turn to the left in a right-hand corner or something like that, then maybe we talk about it. But you can't prove that there's anything there malicious. I'm sure Hamilton doesn't want to run into people because his car gets damaged too. His car.
I was going to say, could have easily taken it's exactly like Verstappen's car, who had a wheel just fly off. That could have been Hamilton's front wheel too, and then his day's over.
Yeah, and those wings aren't meant to take a ton of impact.
Although it wasn't damaged, apparently.
They did have to tape up a couple little elements under the red flag, but yeah, it wasn't too bad. Surprisingly, I thought it would have knocked more off. But yeah, it's a racing thing. 10 seconds is fine. He overcame it. He still ended up winning anyway. So, because he's Lewis freaking Hamilton. So,
what's next? What's next on F1? What's the next F1 race?
Hungary, I think.
It is Hungarian, August 1st.
So 2 weeks. So this weekend off, and then we'll see. Side notes: we were just talking about basketball earlier. Did you guys notice on the onboards the McLarens had Phoenix Suns logos?
Were they? So I noticed something, and I was like, nah, it's not that.
When I saw it the first time, I'm like, and then they showed it again. I'm like, holy shit, they have the Suns logo on. And then, like, is this an NBA play? Like, is somebody else going to have a Bucks logo? So then I was paying really close attention to every onboard, and the McLaren team was the only ones that had it. So I don't know if the Suns reached out and paid for that, or if Zach Brown, the team principal, just happens to be a Suns fan. Like, I don't know what that's about.
Could be, man. Who knows?
But that was really weird.
That was funny.
I didn't know they liked basketball over in England. I know that in Europe it's huge. But
that's true. If that's what... Oh, wait. Yeah. I mean, could it be as simple as, like, someone on the team has a family member or who, like, plays for the Suns? You know what I mean? Who knows?
I don't know. I just thought that was really weird.
Expose.
Like, what is... We can look that up maybe and find an answer. If you know the answer, reach out to us. Tell us why the Phoenix Suns logo was on the McLaren cars at Silverstone this past weekend.
Yeah, that's right. One other thing that we have to talk about in the Twitterverse. I was tweeting about Ford's announcement or possible announcement that what they may do in an attempt to cure their car shortage is ship unfinished cars to dealerships to have them sit on lots and get the parts later. This is not note that this is not a solution to their part shortage as much as it is just a massive cope. And so I said, I think that's really stupid. And that's what I said on Twitter. I think that's a really dumb and bad idea, copying Tesla's publicity stunt. And the only reason Tesla ever did this, the only reason they ever did it, because they don't do it now, is because their targets were never, ever based on sales. They were based on deliveries, which they counted as cars sitting on the dealership lot. So Tesla only ever pulled this stunt to make up their numbers for their shareholders. It had nothing to do with the success, with the pleasing the shareholders. It has nothing to do with the success or failure of Tesla as a company that sells cars. They're never a car company. Whatever. That's whatever.
We've covered this.
Over this
a million times. Anyways, so this fellow I'd never heard of before, named Jason Lancaster, who is the president of a company called Spork marketing company for the auto part and accessory industry. So, I mean, clearly he has experience and knows what he's talking about. Tweeted some stuff at me, started saying that dealers have been fixing vehicles with stop sale orders for longer than have been alive. Stop sale orders are ironclad. There are civil consequences if the rule is ignored. Stop sale orders are super common.
100%. That happens all the time.
Oh, yeah,
that's not what this is, though.
Well, exactly. I mean, he has only 4, 5 tweets about stop sale orders to me. All of them 100% accurate, all of them completely factual, all of them exactly, accurately, and specifically describing the process of stop sale orders. And
accurately describing something else.
Exactly.
Yep.
None of it applied. And it's all really good information, actually, because it's interesting to know how stop sale orders work. This won't be that. And
because a stop sale order is fixing something that's non-compliant.
Exactly.
They're being told... Like I've heard my dad talk about this stuff. He used to sell cars. Like it's because it doesn't comply with like safety, emissions, something that the government then says, "Whoa, you can't sell this until you fix it." And okay, then they ship fix-it parts to the dealers to fix it. This is not even a whole ass car arriving at a dealer.
And this isn't the government telling them to do anything. This is Ford making that decision saying, on their own.
Let's put shells on lots so it doesn't look like we're dying.
Yeah, there are zero ramifications. There are zero legal ramifications to Ford selling, or a Ford dealership, an unscrupulous Ford dealership, selling a car minus a chips board if they can figure out a way to essentially disable the alarm. That's how that system works.
As long as it doesn't impact safety, emissions, or anything else, they can sell it. There's no legal reason they couldn't sell it. As a
dealer custom, essentially. You know what I mean? Like it's, and who knows what parts specifically Ford is missing. I don't. Maybe someone does. If you do, let me know. I'd actually be really interested to hear the specific systems that Ford is having problems with, because I really am very interested in the chip shortage thing.
Because technically, if it is something that's like safety or emissions related, it could get jammed under a stop sale order so it looks better. But it's not even. You can't fix something that's not finished yet. You can only finish. Yeah. You can only finish it.
It's an emergency. A stop sale is an emergency. It's a ripcord, essentially. Like, hey, we really fucked something up. If you sell it, we fucked up so badly. If you sell this, you will go to jail
because we know it's bad and dangerous. Yeah.
I mean,
instead, board lots are going to be looking like the SEMA show floor with just car shells that don't actually work.
A bunch of cords running into the floor to keep the lights on, and
I mean, it could be that. Again, I don't specifically know. It must be some accessory system that has its own daughter board, right, Tristan? That must
I would
be what
assume
we're talking
so.
About.
Yeah.
However, theoretically, they could ship 90% completed cars to dealerships that don't have ECUs. Like it could be that is technically a slot in part, right? Like it's its own board that gets rammed in. And I would imagine that is actually easier than a daughter board that has to be mounted who knows where, behind the dash or something like that.
Well, and didn't they say in the press release that they would be training dealer technicians to install this part? So it's not something that they would normally be fixing as like they might be replacing like a full ECU or whatever,
right?
But they wouldn't be putting the last board in an ECU or something that they will be ending up doing in this case.
Yeah, and by the way, don't listen. John down at the dealership, he's great. He's a great guy. He does a fantastic job changing the oil, rotating the tires. I don't know if everyone. I don't even know if this is accurate to every dealership, but not every mechanic at a car dealership is good at everything that they have to do to a car, because there are 11 billion things that can happen to a car. So dealerships have guys that are better at the electric systems. They're better at the HVAC systems. They're better at doing brakes. You know what I mean? Like people are differently skilled. I don't know that I want to take that risk with something that's going to have to be electronics, like super advanced. You know what I mean? Because whatever this is, if it's a daughter board, it has to be fastened in, Tristan, like you said, because guess what? Ford's not reconfiguring their subsystems for this shortage, and they haven't been the entire time. So whatever it is that's missing, it's going to be more advanced than anything they've had to do to the car subsystems short of a defective product.
Right.
I don't know that I want that.
Yeah, it's man, just a weird time we're in. Shipping half-finished cars to dealerships. Who's the gentleman who tweeted you?
Let me go. Jason Lancaster.
Mr. Lancaster, we appreciate the information. It is very interesting and it is noted, but I think we're just talking about two different topics here.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, like I said, he knows more about the industry than we ever will. So if they slide all these under stop sales, I will be blown away. And he will have called it.
Well, I mean, in theory, are they not allowed to sell these cars if they're not completed?
I don't actually know. Because, again, I don't know what...
So, like, if they were to get one of these half-finished, 70% finished, 90% finished Mustangs, and they sold it to somebody knowing that it was 50, 70, 90% finished, is there state ordinances or laws that go against that? Like, would they be in legal trouble? So could they potentially put this under stop sale?
Well, but there is a very specific intentional meaning to what a stop sale is. It's
yeah.
I don't know for sure if it's something that's actually started by brands at all. It could be a result of essentially a legal measure.
Yeah, I looked it up, and it's an order issued by the government.
Okay.
To not sell something.
Okay, so it probably doesn't even apply.
A notice issued, or the manufacturer prohibiting a motor vehicle dealer from leasing or selling and delivering at wholesale or retail a motor vehicle in the inventory of the dealer until the vehicle has been repaired because the vehicle has a safety defect, fails to comply with a federal motor vehicle safety standard, fails to comply with a federal emission standard, or fails to comply with an emission standard adopted pursuant to title, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
VW.
So, yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I guess in theory, Ford could just file all of these under stop sales then.
Probably, but I doubt they will, because then they're going from a situation where they have no cars on lots to a situation where they have to post a bulletin that any car on their lots cannot be sold.
We have all these cars you can look at, but you can't drive any of them.
That's the other part of a stop sale, because it is a government proceeding. It is publicly available information. You can look up stop sale orders for anyone. You have to have a database.
Man, interesting stuff.
But that's something that I'm actually kind of in a wild imagining, right? Let's say I'm just trying to think of what the most minimal impact you could see from this. Like a car shows up, 99% completed. What is the 1% that we know is an electronically based system, but doesn't really impact the car itself? What if it's something like not the keyless entry, but the remote entry system, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Where, but of course, if you have the proximity key, it's tied into the ignition, so that probably wouldn't work either. However, what if that's the workaround, right? What if it's the main board for the proximity key push button start system? Would it be legal for dealerships to modify that to a traditional turnkey or what have you system, or an old, he says, of technology that was in vogue 3 years ago, the old keyless entry system push button? Is it then legal to sell that car?
I think as long as that technology is still legal, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it would be, because they're still selling cars with it.
Right.
So, yeah.
I don't know. Who can we get on to talk about this? I'm actually really interested.
Mr. Lancaster?
Maybe I'll see if I can DM him.
Yeah.
Maybe he would come on.
Maybe he would and help us talk about this a little bit more. Maybe we can try to find out what Loaf thinks about it. It's been a while since we talked to him.
We'll find someone. Anyways,
let's get them both. Let's get a round table going.
I know we've been at this for a while. I just have a startling fact I saw earlier today.
Okay.
That Lamborghini, it's not startling, but Lamborghini has sold 15,000 Urusai.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just so many.
I saw like 4 of them in Florida in the last 2 days.
Yeah.
Well, they said they were going to stop making. They were stopping orders. They didn't want to sell anymore. They're like, all right, that's too many.
I don't believe you.
No, it's true.
That was money printing machine.
Yeah.
Well, of course, but you have to keep it exclusive. You have to keep it. They limited orders, and this was the year it came out. They're like, all right, that's too many. Stop buying our cars. You can't buy our cars. It's the South Park thing. Mm-hmm. No one can shop here.
Yeah, exactly. No one can go to this theme park.
It's literally Cartman Land.
I'm only letting 3 people in. That's crazy, though.
Yeah. All right. Should we talk about some episode content?
We need to talk about merch first.
Oh my God. We do need to talk about merch first, because we didn't do it at the start of the show.
Like we said we were gonna, now that we're 40 minutes in. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are recording this on July 21st. Probably plan on releasing it 22nd or 23rd. If you are listening then, you have until July 30th to pick up your pre-order of our first ever Check Engine podcast merchandise sale. We've got a couple of t-shirts. Real merch this time. We've got a couple of t-shirts. Merch. We've got a hat. We've got a couple of decals. We've got our standard logo. We've got a super dope Gulf oil logo knockoff that Andrew drew up a couple years ago. We were just sitting on, waiting for something to do with it.
It's true.
Thank you, Heidi, Steve, and Kyle from Styled Aesthetic for helping us out. This is a pop-up shop. Everything is a pre-order. Everything prints and ships after the store closes, and you have until July 30th to make your order. So for those of you who have ordered already, I've reached out or had some people reach out to me and said they placed their orders. Thank you. For those of you who haven't, you have until July 30th. The link is pinned at the top of our Facebook page. It's too long to read here on the air.
It will be in the show notes for this episode also.
Tristan will put it in the show notes like any good producer would.
And it's also on Twitter as well.
It's also on Twitter, so find it.
Our Instagram bio.
Hey.
So find it, click on it, go browse, and hopefully purchase our merch. We talk about it all the time. If you'd like to support this podcast monetarily, we're talking about Patreon and all this other stuff. Here's another great way.
Buy a cool hat.
You can actually buy cool shit, and it will support this podcast.
Yeah.
If you're listening in the future, by the way, you just missed out. I'm sorry. So if you're listening in July of 2022, odds are this stuff isn't available anymore.
But check out Styled Aesthetic anyway.
Oh, for sure, because they got a bunch of cool shit.
Exactly.
So, yes, Check Engine podcast merchandise available for the first time for a very limited time. Product ships mid-August after all orders are processed and completed. So go check it out. Styled Aesthetic. Thank you very much. Andrew, now what are we actually trying to talk about this episode?
Now we are going to talk about matching people to cars and or vice versa. What we want to do is find people we know or using people we know, match them with the cars. Using them.
We're just going to use people.
Match them with the cars that they should. Is that the right word? The car that they need. The car that we see that would fit them best in all ways.
Yeah, I guess in my head it was a little more positive spin. It was like, hey, we just won the lottery and we can buy a bunch of people we know a car. Like, let's be generous and gift them based on, how we know them and what would best fit their need. But yeah, either way you want to spin it.
It just shows the different personalities on this show. That's all.
I guess. Well, I mean, so
that's all it is.
I can just start off, so was it last week we were talking about my mom's predicament, I guess, her issue between the car she has and the car she needs. So, I mean, my first pick was obviously for her, and I can't think of a better car for her situation as we described it, and I won't run through the whole thing, but she needs a car that is large and comfortable and fits her lifestyle, but has the benefits of all-wheel drive and easily loads things into it. So everything we talked about, I think my perfect pick for her would be the Honda Odyssey EX-L for leather. Yes, it's a van
for leather.
No, seriously.
I know. It's funny that's why.
Seriously, that's
I'm not
why.
saying you're wrong. It's funny.
Tristan, remember when I had the Bullet back in the day, that gold Chrysler, and it was an LHS, and we could never figure out what LHS stood for, so we just dubbed it
heated seats,
luxury heated seats.
Luxury heated seats,
heated seats. Fantastic.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Andrew.
No. So I mean, yeah, it just needs to be this van, doesn't it? It's perfect for everything that she would use it for. It doesn't look bad. It's got this awesome dark blue color, obsidian blue pearl that looks fantastic. Just endless features, and it's the most reasonably priced one because with the Odyssey, you can pick packages for all that other van stuff that people really like. So it doesn't have like dual screens in the back or anything like that, but that's fine because she doesn't need it. And the only person in the back will be either my child or the dog. So, I mean, I really think this is absolutely perfect. And I think she'd really like it.
Yeah, well, last week we narrowed it down to a minivan. I don't think we settled on a brand.
I don't think
make
so
and
either.
model, but I can't remember. But I guess just because we've been bumping them so much lately, because they're making awesome stuff, I would probably go with the Kia Carnival if I were to do one. But I mean, there's nothing obviously wrong with an Odyssey.
I mean, the only, and of course, maybe it's previously established Honda bias, but this has been throughout its nameplate lifespan one of those cars that you see one from like 15 years ago and you're like, oh,
it's still fine.
Yeah. And it just looks perfectly fine. And you're like, wow, all right, seems great. And I think this probably has the highest chance of being that out of all the ones that are out there. And also the Toyota, why did I just forget the name of the Toyota? Sienna. That thing is freaking crazy expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. That's why my grandma didn't get a new one after hers finally died.
They're nuts. They're like $55,000.
Yeah.
I noticed that just in general, as we were starting to poke around, because Claire does need a new car, looking at, she's got a Hyundai, so we were looking at obviously Hyundais and looking at Kias, and then we were looking at Hondas, and we looked at Toyotas, and there was a little price bump, even in used with Toyotas. The Camrys.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, that's
Camrys are setting themselves apart a little bit from the Honda Hyundai end of things.
It was always the point of pride for the Nissan Xterra people. That it never cost as much as a 4Runner.
Wait, can you get her to drive one of the Camry TRDs?
I'm sure I could.
Then you should probably do that. I need to know if that car's
test drive or actually own and drive.
Well, yeah, either one. Basically,
I can get her to test drive one.
Why don't you test drive one and tell me if it's awesome?
Can do.
I seriously, I think if I were to be able to go back in the past and talk my previous just bought a car self into spending more money on the car than I ultimately did, and I went to go try a TRD, I don't think there's any way that I didn't come home with it. I genuinely believe in my heart that car is a current, right now, future classic. Every time I see it in a parking lot or on the road, it literally stops me dead in my tracks. Yep. I fucking love that car.
Mm-hmm. It's a really good car. It's a really good car. So I can go and test drive one and let you know how it goes.
Yes, 100%. I need to. I need to know too.
For science.
You guys can also go and test drive them.
Yeah, I know, but
you just want to live vicariously through me because I'm actually.
I don't want it to be a case of. Well, A, I just bought a car, so that is unhealthy. But B, I don't want it to be a case of never meet your heroes. Like you could come back here and say it's garbage. Because it is
so you're
still
scared.
Yes, it is still CVT technically, right? It's not actually true double clutch. I think it's still a CVT.
Can't remember off the top of my head.
So that could be horrible, or it could be grounded to the ground. You know what I mean? It could be just corny and fake. But I need someone I trust to go drive it before I do, so that I don't get destroyed if it's terrible. Which is what happened with the Sentra Spec V when it came back.
I will be that person. Sentra. I will be that person. I will test drive a TRD Camry and I will report back to you.
Dope.
So can I go next?
You want to go next?
Yes, because I actually have the perfect segue.
He's busting.
You're buying somebody a Segway?
No. Oh. No. However, we were discussing just now and this last episode something, the Kia Carnival, that I would had not have until but a couple days ago was not on my list to buy anybody until not having listened to our episode and not having talked to me at all. My mom stumbled across the Kia Carnival on a Facebook ad.
Yeah.
And is like, I want one of those.
Whoa. What a twist.
Right? So that would be actually what I would buy her. I would buy her the SX Prestige trim. With the light brown leather seats. She wants a light interior, not a dark interior.
So does my mom.
Which is something that she is having trouble finding in her current car search, because originally for her, I was going to get her a new S3. And because that was something that she had been looking at for a long time, but I just couldn't pass up the, like, we had just talked about it. She hadn't even listened to the episode yet because she's behind. She's catching up, but she's behind. So she didn't know we had already been talking about it for your mom. And I was like, yep, I would definitely get her one of these, because this is the way my mind works in challenges like this, is like, if I buy her this and she still wants an S3, she can still buy one. But I got her this because she expressed interest in it.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, so you're being a thoughtful, good son who listens.
Yeah, I think she's had a lot of experience, good time in a rented, kind of crummy minivan for the most part. We've gotten like kind of old Dodge Grand Caravans last time we've rented minivans, and like I think that's kind of opened her mind to the fact that, like, yeah, it might be kind of big for commuting, but there are very, like, kind of back to our land yachts episode, we kind of pointed to SUVs as some of the current land yachts, but I think it's trending towards minivans. They're getting more expensive, more elaborate, more comfortable. And yeah, it would make a heck of a road trip vehicle to go down and visit my sister or come up and visit us or whatever. And I think she's seeing an interest in that. And so I would sponsor that. I would get that for her, and if she still wants an S3, she can do that.
It really is just a fantastic looking car.
Uh-huh.
Like, I'm just sitting here, I'm just rotating it in the configurator. There's not a bad angle.
No, and it's about its worst angle is dead on from the side.
Yep.
Because it looks a little too long,
Yeah.
but it's not that bad. It
No, it's
still
really not.
doesn't bother me necessarily. It's just like that's the one it's the worst from.
The only thing it has are bad wheels, but that
You can fix that.
Yeah, you can fix that pretty easy.
to be expected.
The
By the way, can we just take a brief dive? So we didn't talk about the Elantra N finally getting released after much cock teasing.
yes,
That thing is going to be frightfully good. If my car's anything to judge on, things going to be frightfully good. It also has the worst wheels I've ever seen in my life.
Again,
you seen it,
easy
Nick?
fix. Yes, I saw it. Easy fix.
But they're horrible.
Easy fix.
I know, but they just look like a paper snowflake. Anyways,
They do. They look really bad.
exactly like a paper snowflake.
snowflake.
They're heinous. Anyways,
Anyway,
yeah, Kia Carnival is great.
so
Yes.
we got a Kia Carnival. We've got a Honda Odyssey. Should I stick with the parents?
sure.
And I'll go next. So, my mom just got a Kia K5, so she is not
Nice.
in need of a car.
I remember that.
So she had a Cadillac CTS for 8+ years, I would say. Finally traded that in on a Kia K5 earlier this year, so she doesn't need anything. So I'm going to go with my dad, and this is an easy one. It's not a new car. We said money wasn't an object, so I would get him a really, really nice 1963 split window Corvette.
Beautiful.
He had one. He made me swear on my life not to sell it. He then sold it,
Do as I say, not as I do, son.
Exactly
which I feel like was a mistake. Obviously, he was able to get his 69 back, and listeners know that story. But I think just as a gift to my dad, go find. And his was in good shape. His was in really good shape, very usable, very drivable. But there was a lot of little itty bitty gremlins. So I wouldn't go get him like the same one. I wouldn't go find that one. I would try to get him a little bit of an upgrade. I don't want to say, split window, but I wouldn't want to do not like Barrett Jackson level where you can't drive it. But one
You bought it. Who says you can't drive it?
Exactly.
Well, the
Money's
Barrett
no
Jackson,
option. Go buy the Barrett Jackson one.
I guess. I would get him one
And
that was a
then
little
rub it in
nicer
his
than the
face.
one he sold. That's what I'm saying. But a 1963 split window Corvette for my dad.
Money's no object. Buy the Barrett Jackson one and drive it home.
That's right.
Rub it in their face.
Oh man,
Burn the rubber off the wheels on
just
the
to see the
stand.
look on their
Just
face.
light up the rear wheels on the way out of the parking lot.
So, which transportation company would you like to use to get this back
me the
home
keys.
to your garage? Me.
Gimme. Yeah.
Y'all are about to see something real special.
I wonder if they even let you for some of those cars.
I bought it. It's mine.
It's all right. I won this
Yeah.
auction.
They have to let me.
You think?
All right, Andrew, go.
Sticking with, I guess, the parents theme, because this one is very real, and it's kind of it's like weirdly a battle that I'm having to fight with my dad. Because, all right, so here's the deal. My dad's got the RAV4.
Sneaky good car.
Sneaky good car, sneaky great car. But the issue is, he and my mom are building this brand new house. And I don't know whether it's just like the feel of wanting everything to be 100% perfect in the brand new home. But she keeps freaking out over the fact that my dad, who does this for a living and also as a hobby, has a lot of tools. As you would need when you,
Yes.
I mean, he and I built this room we're sitting in. There was no room
You're
here,
sitting
and yeah, I'm sitting in. But built this room previously where there was no room. There are now walls and a roof and shit like that. So you need stuff in order to accomplish jobs like that. And she's just absolutely losing her mind over the fact that he would be so bold as to have tools. Anyways, he's currently keeping him in his RAV4. Which means that the entire back of the RAV4 is covered in tools, which is untenable. He keeps talking about wanting to buy a windowless van for his tools, which is also untenable because it's creepy as shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think so there's really two options, right? I have two things picked out for him. Both of them happen to be from Dodge. There's the Ram van, which is not that creepy, because it kind of looks friendly.
The ProMaster?
Yes, yep,
Yeah.
exactly that. The ProMaster, the tall ProMaster.
Right. Not the dinky one.
Right, which I do think has some appeal to it, actually. I think he might actually get, some shelving in there to sort his tools out and whatnot. But I just can't help but think that the actual answer is just a nice pickup truck, right? I feel like that's the compromise.
I mean, is
Now,
he using it strictly for work, or is like he gonna? Because my only thought is he gonna like drive to the grocery store or to see you on the weekends in the ProMaster?
he would be, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I feel like the pickup truck would be more of an everyday.
Exactly. That's the thing. Because I don't think, as much as he's, threatened to buy a second car, I just don't think that he would. I mean, I think it would be awesome if one day he went out and bought, a Firebird like he had. I just don't think that he'll actually do that. So in the spirit of that, I mean, the van is a ridiculous choice for everyday driving. You look like a tool. But if you get, so here's what I'm thinking.
Tool carrying tools.
I was gonna say,
Yes,
look like
exactly.
your tools.
Exactly that. But with that being said, he does do genuine work for his everyday job and is looking at retirement, as much as he wants to deny that. I mean, he's in the age bracket already. So I can't think of a better option for him than a Ram 1500 Classic, which is literally the base model of the Ram.
I was wondering what that meant. I actually saw that the other day, like with the badge on it. I was like, "What's that mean?"
Yeah, so it's the old style with it's got the 5.7 liter Hemi, which is at this point like a bulletproof engine. It's fabulous.
Mhm.
So it's a Ram, a little more comfortable. You can get this thing completely kitted out with all of the fun stuff that you'd actually want in a Ram. But this one has one major difference in that you can plow prep it because it's the
Ooh.
workman model. So you can get all of the actual like stuff you'd want to use on a truck, which my dad would use, stuff like a plow and the upgraded towing and stuff like that. Plus the Ram box and, a respectable interior CarPlay, stuff like that. I think this is probably the choice for him because it would be a car or a truck that actually would give him things that he's lacking, like a place to throw a bunch of tools in the bed, and also improve daily life stuff because it would have, for example, it would not have Toyota's appalling in-dash navigation system. It really is just a piece of shit.
Yeah, and you could, like, if money's no object, you could also go all in on, like you said, kitting it out.
Mhm.
Get a cap with the slide out drawers. That he can put all of his tools on.
That's
and
good.
everything,
like
so
that.
he can carry it with him. But then he'll still have like a quad cab in the front. So he's got something he can drive, and then basically a portable storage shed for all of his tools.
Right, exactly.
That's
And
not in his way.
And even if you don't get the shelves, if nothing else, the cap will give you that extra vertical space to use because now you're going above the edge of the bed, like the fenders. You can go above that and store even more stuff. Shelves
As much as I'm kind of on if I get a truck, would I put a cap on it? Because then you miss out on a lot of the good parts of having a truck where you can put something infinitely tall in the back. You could put a refrigerator in there upright if you wanted to, that kind of thing. But I don't think from what you're saying that's really, he's not looking for that. So
maybe sometimes you can also take them out too.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you can take the tools out. You take the tools out and still put in like plywood or whatever else in the back. Like you can still do that. You have to take the cap off to anything else. But again, I don't think that's what he's trying to do. So I think the cap would be cool as a place to store the tools.
Yeah, exactly. I think I think you should legitimately get this.
You can legitimately get it for him. That's what the purpose of this episode is.
That would be great.
Yeah. 1500 Classic. Nice. We had said before too that like of all the trucks you get, F-150, Silverado, whatever, like the Ram's interior seemed the nicest too.
Yeah, that would always.
Yeah, and its ride is nicest too.
Yeah.
If you've got like, even on the heavier duty models, you've still got independent rear suspension with actual springs. They give up a little bit of payload capacity for that, And that's a choice they've made, is like, we're going to make a truck that people want to drive and use it whenever they need to, not, oh, I chucked the buckboard in the barn because I can't drive it day to day because it's awful,
Right.
kind of thing. So
Yeah, I think it's I am working on him to actually purchase this truck because I do believe that it is the right choice instead of he can't be driving around in a van. That's what I keep telling him. If you buy that van, you're gonna have to buy a car as well. And he's like, well, why? It's like, because you
can't do that.
You can't do that.
Yeah, you just can't.
Yeah,
just don't worry about it. You can't.
Exactly.
That's a good one. So Tristan, round 2 to you.
All right, so I'm gonna stick with the old the father list here that we've got going. And Nick, much like you, it's something that is no longer in production. Doesn't go quite all the way back to 1963. But I would get my dad an actual 4.2 liter V8 Audi R8.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And those had always been able to be shipped with like Audi custom colors on them, which is cool. You're not limited to, which, to be fair, that more so than a lot of other car companies, or a lot of other cars even from that company, they've got, only 2 shades of silver and gray, and three if you count silver and gray. Only 1 black, a white, but they also have some nice primary colors in there: a bright yellow, bright red, bright blue. But it's Audi exclusive special paint, and you can choose what you want. And I'd have them pull the paint code off of his A6 and paint it that color.
Oh, that deep forest green.
Yep, with the silver side blade.
Yeah.
So that would be for him. He's always liked the V8 version better. In theory, have either of us ever driven either of them? No. But
podcast isn't that famous yet.
Yeah, right. # fun Tristan's Audi is not aiming for one of those. So we haven't gotten to any of them yet, but certainly not that one. So it's all in theory, but I think his relationship to that motor already in his A6, and just the fact that by all accounts it is a better balanced car with the V8 in it instead of the V10. I think it's something that he would appreciate and be able to drive. And he would definitely be one of those people who would just drive it every day. So he'd get a lot out of it. He's made it very clear that surpassed the 928 on his dream car list. And
okay,
it would be the time to get him one. So if we had no money's no object, we'll get it painted the right color, find a nice pristine 4.2 liter one, and there you go.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Like to be there when you give it to him. I think that'd be great. Film that, put that up on our socials, put it on Insta.
Right.
Cool. So for my next round, I'm gonna buy a car for my fiance. Still getting used to saying fiance.
Feels good though.
Actually,
it
I had to pause
easier
there for a second. My good fiance. So Claire legitimately does need a new car right now, and we are actively looking. It won't be this, but if money is no object, I'm going to go this direction. I know for a fact that she likes sedans. She likes 4-doors. She likes white with tan interior. So that stuff's all pretty good. But she also it's weird. She doesn't want just a sedan. She wants a little sportier. She wants a little livelier. So I think the only choice, if money was no object, is an Audi RS5.
Classy.
Okay.
Classy, enough room to haul some groceries or some little kiddos in time in the back seat. But it's an Audi. It's mean. All the performance in the world you want.
It's mean.
White and tan is a pretty common color option.
I was gonna say, can you get tan? Yeah,
tan, beige, whatever they call it now. Even if it's two-tone, I think she'd be open to that, where it's like beige with some darker like wheel or dash or something like that. But yeah, Audi RS5.
So I'm just looking at it. I forgot how much I like the wheels on this thing. Ugh.
They're pretty slick.
They're just, 5 spokes. No one does 5-spoke anymore. It's so good.
Yeah. So that was another one that was pretty easy for me. Yeah, I could have gone like Genesis G70 or something like that too, but it's like, nah, let's kick it up a notch.
Yeah, man, this is a really good looking car. This
Yeah,
RS5.
so cool.
Fantastic.
So cool.
I've forgotten this. Is this a new redesign, Tristan, for the 2021 year?
If not 2021, it's like the last couple years. It's relatively recent.
It's just good. I don't think I've seen many of these. That's why I'm asking. Like, wow, is that good? Anyways,
So I think she would like it.
yeah, and I think anyone would. Here's my last one. That's kind of weird. It's a little bit awkward because it's not actually someone who's related to me. At work, my boss is the president of the company, and we got a new president. Sort of like promotion from within. Congratulations to her. But the problem is that she drives the same Honda Fit that she drove when she was in undergrad, and years removed from that. She's married. She now has a great job. She's the president of a multi-million-dollar business. And I think, I just think she has to step it up. So I was actually talking to her about this the other day. I was like, hey, have you thought about what you're going to get for your presidential vehicle? And she's like, oh, I don't know. I keep talking about it with my husband. We're not sure what we want to get. He keeps reminding me that I need to stay grounded. And I'm like, but like, come on, you got to meet with like business owners and you got to show out at gala events. And like, I mean,
stay grounded, but don't stay in the ground.
Yeah.
Right.
And you can't roll a Fit to a gala.
It's probably like a 2007 Honda Fit.
Those evening gowns probably don't even fit into a Fit.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, all right, so clearly she needs to step the game up.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I was really struggling with this because I think there's two realities, right? There's one where she's gonna upgrade to something, and it could be something fun like a GV70, right? Kind of like a smaller SUV, which is my first thought. But then I pulled into work today, where I did not get the memo. Because every other car in the parking lot was a Subaru.
Educators.
Exactly. Every other vehicle was with not joking around, was a Subaru, and most of them made in the past 5 years or so. So clearly, she's probably just going to get a Subaru Forester, right? And I think that's great. I love the sport one, but is there anything more exciting? Like, should I start trying to convince her to get something like a GV70?
I think so.
Yeah, I would say it's worth investigating. Do you have any thoughts? Was GV70 what you were looking for?
I think so, because I mean, based on the fact that she's still driving a Fit, she's not she's not looking to like massively size up. I wouldn't imagine, because that's about the smallest car you can get.
Because honestly, when I heard educators all buying Subarus, I was like, what's the other kind of thing that they like to drive? And I was thinking like a Volvo.
There you go.
I was thinking
like an
Volvo
XC60 or something.
XC60, XC40 if she really wants something small.
Aren't those going away? Something about that I read that the wagons are disappearing.
No, I'm talking
These
about
are the
actual
SUVs.
SUVs, but
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, I forgot that. The XC is the right. Is that how their naming is? XC is the SUV, and the
XC, and then V are the wagons.
V, right, yeah.
S's are the sedans,
right?
Fittingly enough.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I think that's so. this has to be a car that looks good at a gala event and fundraising events, things like that. But there's also a second key that I forgot to mention. It also has to look respectable at golf courses.
See.
Genesis.
That's really important.
Genesis.
But the Volvo fits right at, like, if you
Right, country club happy.
that's country club big time.
If you're talking, I think they could. They're
Andrew.
They're one and the same at a gala. At a golf course,
Yeah.
I would lean to Genesis.
Interesting. Oh, because of the Genesis Open.
Yeah, they sponsor golf.
Oh, shit, Tristan.
Yeah.
What are you gonna say, Tristan?
I was gonna say, actually, I know it's gonna be a little wacky compared to the other two, but when you're talking about galas, country clubs, this kind of thing, what about a Range Rover Velar?
Oof, that's got to be really expensive.
Money's not
Yeah.
an object for this game.
And I know, and that's why I said it's a little wacky, because I know, like, you are keeping her preferences in mind, and it's going to be a big jump from a Fit to a Range Rover, But I
That's
was
kinda
like, that
swaggy,
could
though.
be, it could be cool. Like, I think it would be great to roll up in a Range Rover.
Yeah, that's definitely swaggy.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm just trying to think of
That's something a president would drive.
what did
Yeah.
the last president drive? Last president drove a what's the big Audi SUVs, the Q8?
Yes.
Mhm.
Q8. She
Yes.
drove that thing, that monstrosity. Yeah, no, the Range Rover I actually like. That would be sweet. That would be fun to see in the parking lot every day.
I cannot. Anyway, no. Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, because I cannot get over how nicely I'm being handed these transitions.
So wait, did we decide for you, Andrew? It's the Range Rover instead.
Yeah, I think it should be the Range Rover. That's
Oh,
definitely
nice.
swag.
I can't believe you said your former president drove a Q8, because that is next on my list.
Really?
Who's getting a
No,
Q8?
no lie. I have the page pulled up right now, and it's not just the Q8. It's the RS Q8, of course.
For who?
Jessica.
What?
Really?
Wow. Speaking of upgrades,
Right? Well, money's no object. So
hear
she had, for many years, her family had owned SUVs. She learned to drive on, a minivan and an SUV. Drove the neighbors, various, Tahoes or whatever when she was babysitting, and has always kind of expressed interest in getting an SUV, but then also literally anything that has a little bit of rake to the windshield and goes vroom. It's like, oh, that looks like a cool car. Like, and I'm not just like dumbing that down because it's like, oh, she's a woman, she only knows it goes vroom, right? That's how broad the appeal is. Like, it's like she'll see a Porsche pull in and she goes, oh, that looks nice. She's a Camaro pull in, like, oh, that looks really cool. So like literally just anything that goes fast and has a little bit of looks to it, a little bit of attitude, always draws her attention enough to hit me in the arm and go, oh, look at that.
The
So-
RS Q8 does have some attitude.
Mhm.
It's got a lot of attitude
And it's got a lot of 700 and some horsepower too.
bi-turbo V8.
Oh,
And it's only 591 horsepower only.
oh,
Only what do we got for foot pounds of torque?
this must be souped up ones that I'm looking at. Then
590.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
0 to 60 in an actual cruise ship in 3.7 seconds. That would make anybody grin, but it would definitely make her grin.
That's terrifying. That's
Right?
so much inertia.
Yeah. So, because I looked at a few other things, and why the Velar came to mind for me, to tell you, was I had looked at Range Rover Sport, Velar, a few other luxury fast SUVs, and I'm like, I just can't shake my Audi aversion. Part of that, part of this decision may be getting somebody else a gift for them that you would also enjoy. I don't know, but. That was actually my choice for Jessica. So
It
it's
looks
funny that it came up.
it looks badass.
No M package X5 or whatever that thing was you were driving?
No. I
No.
think it was trash. I would never buy one of those. As a total aside and total truthfulness, I would never buy an X5. The all-wheel drive system was just the weirdest, and it for a quote unquote sporty SUV, it drove like a tank. Just
So it wasn't
not
the ultimate driving machine?
No, just not a fan.
Sorry, I don't know why I went to BMWUSA.com to be greeted by the frightful visage of the iX. My God. I don't want to see it anymore.
All right, so round 3 to me. Tristan, do you have another one after this? I have 4 that I chose.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I have one more too.
You do have one more? Okay.
Mhm.
Cool. So, for my round 3, I am going with someone also who is, like you, Andrew, not related, but not like you, I don't work with them. So this is a good friend of mine. I think you guys all know him. My friend Micah.
Indeed.
Yeah, I think he went to your high school, if I remember correctly.
He
So
did.
I think since that time or shortly thereafter in college, he has owned a Chevy Cobalt.
Wow.
Still
To this
has
day?
it. He still has it to this day. He's got 1,000 million miles on it.
Is it the SS or anything cool?
I don't believe so.
You should know you have a car podcast.
It's been that long since I've seen the thing. But I know he's still got it. And he is an incredibly talented musician, plays a bunch of different instruments. And if he ever needs to go somewhere, now he's not in a band, so I'm not going to get him a Ford Transit or something to haul like band gear around in. But like he has performed on stage with people before. He has had some, gigs as a just kind of a side hustle before, and he's got some stuff up on Spotify and YouTube. You can look him up, Micah J, on those platforms. So he may need to tote some things around, guitars, amps, a keyboard, those types of things. So he needs a little more space than the Cobalt provides, and he needs also something that's going to get some decent gas mileage because he's driving a lot. Like he's based in Pewaukee. His fiance's out in the Madison area, so they're back and forth a lot of the time. He's putting a lot of miles on. So for all of those reasons, I would buy Micah a Hyundai Santa Fe HEV, the hybrid.
Wow.
So it's got enough storage space in the back for his gear if he's hauling his instruments around. But the hybrid version of this also gets you 31 city, 36 highway.
That's
For a
nice.
bigger SUV, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And also, kind of mini rental car review. I just drove a Santa Fe down in Florida for a couple days, and it's really, really, really nice. Not a hybrid version, regular petrol version, but
Petrol.
awesome. So I would get Micah the Santa Fe HEV.
Nice. All right. So I have one here that's for my brother, and he has this thing where how can I describe this? She really likes cars. Really likes cars and kind of cycles through them a bit, not because he wrecks them or anything, but he likes V8s, he likes old cars, he likes old Grand Prix, and he likes Dodge Challengers, or basically that big Dodge V8. He's had a couple Challengers, and what was the wagon one? Oh my god, I just forgot.
Magnum?
The Magnum. He had the
Yes.
sweetest SRT Magnum. He never should have sold that car. That thing was so awesome.
God, I loved the Magnum so
It's
much.
so great. I think he regrets selling that car. But he also has a problem because he has 2 kids and hates when they destroy things.
As
So-
people do.
Well, they're kids. What can you do? They just don't have muscle to like hold stuff. You know what I mean? Cups and Anyways, so the problem is the
I
kids.
hope you maintain that level of patience when it's your kid.
Quite possibly, we'll see.
Kids
What are you
do
gonna-
things.
Yeah, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Child, please be born with all your faculties. That would be great. I would enjoy that, but it's not really the way life works. So the essential problem is he does not want to have a car that the kids are going to be in all the time that the kids ruin, and he doesn't want to haul the kids around all the time in the nice car. So he's got a really nice old Grand Prix that he keeps off-site so the kids don't touch it, which is smart. But his current... so he's been cycling through essentially family cars. He had a Jetta for a while. He had a new RAV4 for a while, then sold it because he realized that it was the same as like his 90s RAV4. So he bought a 90s RAV4. He had a BMW X1 for a while, but he works. So he lives kind of in the middle of the country, and he works at a place where if your car is too foreign, not even too nice, but if your car is too foreign, people begin to suspect things about your life, which is really weird. So he's a church music director, and he had a BMW X1, like a very reasonable car for the job that he had. And people were like, "Oh wow, you must be getting paid a lot at this job." And he's like, "This car's like $35,000. Like, what are you talking about?" But people would just give it to him endlessly because he had an X1. So he got rid of that. Anyways, long story short,
that's them fancy foreign vehicles.
Exactly that. I guess so. Super long story, less long. I don't understand why he's never, in all this car swapping that and all this car buying and selling that he's done, he's never bought a Dodge Durango. And I think that he should just buy the Durango and be done with it.
Get an RT.
That's exactly what I have up here. The Dodge Durango RT. I can't imagine a more perfect car for the things that he likes. It's sizable for the two kids. Maybe it'll get destroyed or whatever, but in the meantime, you actually get to enjoy the same engine that he likes with the same interior sensibilities with, it's a modern day SUV. It's packed with all of the random tech you would expect. You can get all of the entertainment center stuff and towing. Maybe he could actually tow his next car back with it. It's got the V8, so it has a massive towing capacity. I just don't understand why he's never, ever gotten one of these in all the time that he's swapped cars. There must be a reason, I guess, maybe, but it seems like the perfect car for him. I think he needs this.
So give it to him.
Exactly. And no one would ever look twice at him for having this, right? That's an American car. It's not sus.
It's domestic.
It's domestic. Exactly. It's not suspicious at all.
Unsus domestic Durango.
Exactly. I really think he needs this.
I dig it.
That's a good pick.
Yeah.
So which one do you guys want to hear?
Uh-oh.
Because I actually got 5.
Whoa.
Do you want to hear what I'd get my sister or my future mother-in-law?
Sister. I want to hear sister because of Renegade.
Yes. Okay. So.
And she's always had interesting cars. Not to sidetrack, but the Beetle, then to the Renegade, yeah?
Yep. So potentially down on the pure interest factor, because it's not going to be as out there as the Beetle or the Renegade, which, to be fair, both of those sold pretty well. But they fall into that kind of magic slot where it's enough that people know what they are, but not enough to be like, oh, everybody has one. That's really the only downside to this car is that everybody's got one, or something else from this company. It's a Subaru. It's the Crosstrek.
Okay, that makes sense.
Subaru Crosstrek Sport in what do they call it? Plasma yellow pearl. Because you gotta got to keep that yellow paint. And the thing that like made me chuckle, and like as I was looking through the build sheet, was like, yep, definitely. You can buy, because it's Subaru, every possible dog related accessory for this vehicle. A Subaru branded pet harness, mobile pet bed, to your mom's purposes, a collapsible pet kennel that fits perfectly in the trunk and is made by Thule. Dog bowls, rear seat covers, and knowing that her dog goes everywhere with her, I thought that would be a benefit. Stock it with literally every Subaru dog related accessory, and it's gonna have, it's the Sport, so they make a special point of pointing out that it does have the 182 horsepower 2.5 in it, so a little bit more aggressive. As far as when they say Sport, it's not just a fancy paint job and a 1/4 inch down on the suspension.
Mhm.
It's, they actually put the higher output motor. It's got the same interior as my car, actually, the StarTex material, which I really love. It's perfect. And I think that she would love it because it's quirky yet not just flat out weird, and it comes in yellow, which is her biggest concern.
This is a good yellow. I haven't seen this on the road at all. This is
Right.
a really good color.
And that would be the part that would set it aside, because I have not seen that yellow on the road either, even though it is the advertised color for the Crosstrek Sport.
I haven't seen it at all.
But yeah, it's so that would be my pick for the next Brennemobile. It does not have a fancy portmanteau like the Brenegade, but it'll have to do.
Yeah, you might have to just keep calling it the Brenegade, I guess.
Yeah, just move the badge over.
Yeah.
This is my new Subaru Brenegade.
That's awesome. That's a good choice. That's a good choice.
You can get the STI strut tower brace for it.
Yeah,
Thank God.
yep. Just in case you needed it.
Because why not, right?
Exactly.
All right. So, for my last purchase here, I'm going to buy one for my little cousin Alex, because he just graduated this summer from college. So
Graduated.
he actually going to his grad party on the Saturday of Road America IMSA weekend. So skipping that day. But congrats to him, obviously, for that huge milestone. And I thought this would be a cool opportunity to fake buy him a really cool graduation present. So just thinking about, like, he's not it'd be easy just to say, hey, congratulations, here's a new Camaro or something like that. But like, he's not like a huge car person. So I don't think he'd really like be getting him just being like, oh yeah, Alex, here's a Camaro, or here's a R8, like Tristan got his dad. Like, it's not really going to do anything for him. He'd be like, oh, that's cool. So I'm just thinking about Alex. He is very active. Like, he's way more active than I am. So he ran cross country in high school. I can't remember if he did it in college or not. But he's still he's certified scuba diving. He and my uncle, actually, his dad, they both still do 5Ks. They just finished their first, I think they call it a mini triathlon, or it's like a 1/4 mile swim, 18-mile bike ride, and a 5K run or something like that. He wants to work with the Forest Service or the DNR. So he likes to be outdoors. So I'm like, what's something that's really nice, also really capable, and kind of fits that lifestyle? So for my cousin Alex graduation, I am going to fake buy him the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392.
I was wondering if anyone was going to bring a Jeep into this.
Just brought a Jeep into this. We're closing with a Jeep. So This one is basically the most expensive Jeep they sell. It starts at $74,995.
Whoa.
Price on sale.
20K more
On
than the
sale.
next.
Not even a little.
20K more than the next most expensive.
That's nonsense.
It's got a huge V8, 6.4 liter. 392, 470 horsepower V8. It also comes with a 2-inch suspension lift, upgraded frame rails, heavy duty brakes, Fox high performance shocks, leather interior, and also the only Jeep with shift paddles.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
So I think it's something that's super nice, it fits kind of the sporty thing that I'm looking forward to but when I buy things for people, but it also is going to be better married up to his lifestyle than if I were to just get him here's a Shelby 350.
That's true.
So that's my pick. Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392.
It's got a dual mode exhaust.
Yep.
And optional half doors.
Hey,
Yeah.
Which half?
You only get to keep the top half. No, sorry, the bottom half. You only get to keep the bottom half.
Yeah, I was gonna say better be the bottom half.
You get out of the car by just sliding beneath the glass.
I would love to see that.
I mean, I bet you can work it out to do that in kind of a smooth way.
Yeah, you probably could. You probably could do that so you don't look like
He's a skinny kid. He would fit through relatively easily.
I'd plug
That might
out
happen if he
like
turns too hard.
It's just
Yeah.
that
That would be the thing, right? He'd be living in fear.
every kicked up stone right to the knees.
Oh man, screaming in terror every time you see a gravel patch.
So to avoid that, let's just be safe and get him one with full doors.
Okay, fine.
Spoil sport.
I don't want him sliding out of it.
Should I have considered the Gladiator for my dad? I'm looking at the Gladiator. Like, can I convince my dad to get this?
Man, I've been so disenchanted with the Gladiator.
What happened? What'd they do?
It's like all the reviews are, it's just dumb.
Well, why? I've not read a single review on this thing.
It's like if you want a truck, get a different truck. If you want a Jeep, get a different Jeep. You can get like a TRD Pro Tacoma, and it's just as capable off road, and it'll drive better and carry more. Like,
nah, man.
it's like, and then the off road one, like if you got the Rubicon Gladiator, you better only want to drive it off road because it's just even more so than like the Rubicon Wranglers. It's just atrocious on the road.
Really?
Yeah.
So maybe let's just stick with the Ram.
All right, fine. We'll stick with the Ram. It does look quite exciting, though. It looks
cool.
Looks chunky
in
a fun way. I forgot about the Titan XD. That's a silly name. It's got a happy face on it.
Hey.
Anyways, all right. Clearly, I'm just rambling at this point.
Yeah.
Honorable mention was getting my future mother-in-law a Mach 1.
Not a bad way to get on the good side.
Yeah, right? She had mentioned driving a Mustang in the past and wanting one, and was entranced by the fact that my WRX was a manual because she quote unquote missed driving a manual. So
wow, good for her.
Yep.
Oh my god, the Titans fucking they start at like 50. What is this?
We should get Andrew out of here before he gets too angry at random shit now.
Yeah.
He's rolling around the deck, a danger to everybody.
I'm in the configurator and I cannot be stopped.
All right. So while he's doing that, thanks for sticking with us today, everybody. We appreciate you listening. We don't want you just to listen. We want to interact with you. You can find us on all the socials. Look us up on Facebook by searching Check Engine Podcast. Andrew, stop the configurator long enough to tell him where to find us on Twitter.
At Check Engine Pod. Also, Crew Cab S.
You can find him on Twitter at Check Engine Pod and in the Nissan configurator.
That's right.
Tristan, where can they find us on Instagram?
You can find me on Instagram at Check Engine Pod and still in the Audi configurator.
Yeah.
So,
Nick, what configurator are you stuck in?
I was in the Jeep one with the
There you go.
Rubicon.
Wait! Stop the presses.
What?
Nick, did you hear the new Corvette audio clip for the Z06?
I did not hear it yet.
Oh, man.
Should I
That's
post it? Should I post it on the socials for people to listen to?
Definitely post it. You know me, I'm not an engine noise guy, but that's a screamer.
Yes.
Okay, I will get on that as soon as we end this episode. It will be up on the Facebooks. So anyway, Facebook, Twitter, Insta. Be sure to like, follow, share, post, DM. Reach out how and when you can. You can ask us questions to answer on air. Give us topic ideas. Let us know what you like, dislike, all that good stuff. Also, be sure to leave us a review on whatever platform you're streaming us through, preferably a good one, and or hit that subscribe button. It's free. You'll get notified of any new content we put out, and it helps us in that big, giant algorithm that the internet decides how important we are. So if you're really into what we're doing and would like to support this podcast monetarily, you have more than two options for that. You can either go to patreon.com/checkenginepodcast or hit the support button on our homepage at anchor.fm/checkenginepodcast, or follow the links on all our socials to the Styled Aesthetic Check Engine Podcast pop-up shop and buy merch now through July 30th. Window closes at the end of the month. Product shipped mid-August. Thank you in advance for that. Guys, who or what are we shouting out before we sign off?
I will just stick straight down the midline here and go with thanking Styled Aesthetic, because all of this stuff looks amazing. Like, even the logo that I mocked up, like at the exact farthest possible end of what I can do with graphic design, they made it look incredible. All this stuff looks so good. I could not be more excited.
Yeah, it looks great. And they even went as far as to make that golf shirt like look weathered and old.
It looks so good. It looks so good.
So badass.
I think we can just agree that this episode goes out to Styled Aesthetic for the excellent merch job. Kyle was taking the lead, right?
Kyle was the design lead,
Yeah.
yes.
So, most of the design stuff for him, and then, Steve with his push to get this up and running. So,
Yeah, they designed the logo as well. I mean, they're just awesome.
Awesome, folks. So thank you to Styled Aesthetic. And we are we're their smallest client. So,
Definitely.
like, they're
100%.
dealing with like Wayne Taylor Racing and Dinner with Racers, and they had the Penske account for a while. But the fact that they still put this kind of time and effort and churn out a quality product for tiny little check engine podcast is really, really freaking cool.
Yeah, they're awesome dudes. Always
So-
check them out.
I would like to throw one last shout out. Obviously, this is the episode for Styled Aesthetic, but we'd be remiss if we didn't mention this. The first friends of the podcast that we had in motorsports, Murillo Racing,
yes.
won the Michelin Pilot Challenge race at Lime Rock Park
That's right. How the heck could I forget that?
this past weekend. Jeff Mosing, Eric Foss, I can't believe it's been this long, their first win in 4 years. And they finally pulled one out. It's great to see them at the top step in that hashtag badass copper AMG GT4. So
Hell yeah.
Congrats to Jeff, Eric, the entire Murillo squad. For those of you who don't know, they were the first team to let us put our very first decal with our very first logo on the back of their car at Mid-Ohio for free.
What a shitty logo that was at the time.
Yeah, it totally.
If you need another one, we'll have nicer ones for you.
Yeah, we'll have
We
nicer
will have
ones.
nicer ones.
So, congrats to the Murillo Racing crew. Hopefully, that's one of many more before the end of this season. So, congrats to them, and thank you as always, for your continued support of the show. We love hearing from you. We love recording this for you, and we cannot wait to speak to you again. Until then, fear the deer.
Fear the deer.